Welcome to the TokyoBill Weekly, stories from Japan, told from Japan. This week, paying double to see Japan. Let me start with a simple question. When you visit a famous temple, a castle, a national museum, does the price on the ticket matter? For most visitors to Japan, the answer seems to be not really. The country is so extraordinary, so unlike anywhere else, that paying more seems entirely reasonable to most people who come here. Some are almost surprised it costs so little. Well, Japan heard that, and now it's starting to act on it. Right now, a quiet but consequential policy shift is underway across this country. It goes by a few names: dual pricing, two-tier admission, residency-based fees. But the basic idea is simple. If you live here, you pay one price. If you don't, you pay more. Sometimes a lot more. And the debate it has sparked is genuinely interesting because it touches on questions of fairness, identity, hospitality, and what it actually means to welcome someone to your country. Let me give you the numbers first because they're what set this whole thing in motion. Japan welcomed 42.7 million overseas visitors in 2025, a 15.8% jump over the previous record, and roughly 10 million more than pre-pandemic 2019 levels. Now think about that. 42 million people in 1 year. That surge generated a record 9.5 trillion yen, about 60 billion US dollars, in visitor spending. Tourism has become, by some measures, Japan's second largest export industry after automobiles. The weak yen is a big part of this. For visitors arriving with dollars, euros, or Korean won, Japan has become extraordinary value. Beautiful, safe, immaculately maintained, and surprisingly affordable. For the people who actually live here and earn in yen, watching that happen has been a more complicated experience. Wages have been slow to rise, prices have gone up, and popular neighborhoods, local buses, corners of Kyoto that residents have walked through every morning for decades, they are now, in peak season, indistinguishable from a theme park. So the pressure has been building, and it's now resulted in real policy. The flagship example, the one everyone is watching, is Himeji Castle out in Hyogo Prefecture. Since March 1st of this year, Himeji has charged non-resident adults 2,500 yen to enter, while city residents continue paying 1,000 yen. Anyone under 18 gets in free regardless of where they're from. That's a 2.5 times price difference, and it's based not on nationality but on residency, meaning a foreign national who lives in Japan and pays Japanese taxes gets the local rate. That distinction, as I'll come back to, turns out to matter quite a bit. The early results are striking. In March, visitor numbers dropped about 17% year-on-year to roughly 140,000 people. But revenue practically doubled compared to the same month last year, with ticket income hitting around 270 million yen. Fewer people, more money. The city now projects 2.2 billion yen in ticket revenue for fiscal 2026, about a billion yen more than the previous year, with the extra funding going toward preserving the castle's stone walls and structure. The castle is close to 400 years old. It needs that money. That result has made Himeji the model everyone is talking about. Japan's tourism agency has convened an expert panel and is moving toward publishing formal national guidelines for dual pricing, with formal rules expected by March 2027. Kyoto is considering a similar system for its city buses, where tourists would pay nearly double the local rate, described by city officials as fulfilling a promise to return the streets of the ancient capital to its citizens. And national museums across the country, including the Tokyo National Museum in Ueno, are planning to adopt dual pricing by 2031. On top of all this, Japan's international tourist tax, the so-called sayonara tax, is tripling from 1,000 to 3,000 yen per person departing the country starting July 1st of this year. So, is this fair? The case for it is pretty intuitive. Residents pay local and national taxes. Those taxes support the maintenance of roads, public spaces, cultural sites, infrastructure. A tourist from overseas contributes none of that. They arrive, they consume, they photograph, and they leave, sometimes leaving behind crowds, litter, and frayed tempers among the locals who have to navigate the same spaces every day. Supporters argue that tourists who don't pay Japanese taxes should contribute more to the wear and tear they cause and to the extra services they require: English signage, multilingual apps, additional staff. It's a reasonable argument. And it's worth pointing out that Japan isn't doing anything novel here. The Emerald Buddha Temple in Thailand and the Taj Mahal in India have long charged foreigners higher fees. Bali has a tourism tax. European cities are introducing overnight visitor charges. The idea that popular places charge visitors more than residents is not controversial in most parts of the world. Japan is actually late to it. But the complications are real, and they're worth talking about. The first is the question of how you actually implement this. Residency-based pricing sounds clean in theory, but at the castle gate, you need a way to verify who lives where. Himeji is using Japan's My Number card system. Locals can prove residency online when buying digital tickets, or show their My Number card or driver's license at the entrance. That works well in Japan, where the digital ID infrastructure is increasingly solid, but it creates a two-speed queue, paperwork, and the possibility of resentment at the ticket counter. The second complication is the one that directly involves the many thousands of foreign nationals who live and work in Japan long-term. As mentioned, most sites, including Himeji Castle, have drawn the line at residency, not nationality. A foreign resident with a valid residence card pays the local rate. That's the right call, and it matters enormously. One historian pointed out that since national treasures are partially supported by national tax revenue, charging a resident, Japanese or foreign, the same as a tourist who pays no taxes here would be genuinely unfair. The residency model threads the needle reasonably well. But not every site has landed there. Some are drawing the line at nationality. Japanese citizens pay less, everyone else pays more, which creates a different and much more uncomfortable situation. It raises the question of whether you're being charged more for what you consume or for what you look like. Those are very different things, and the latter has a word attached to it that nobody wants to use in a tourism brochure. A national survey found that over 60% of Japanese residents support charging tourists more, and that number reflects something real. The frustration is genuine. The crowds are real. The pressure on daily life in places like Kyoto's Gion district, or the streets around Sensoji, or the viewpoints around Mount Fuji, is not imaginary. But there's something worth sitting with underneath all this. Japan has spent years, decades really, cultivating a global image built on exceptional hospitality, omotenashi, the idea that guests are received with a quality of care and thoughtfulness that goes beyond transaction. That reputation is real, it is valuable, and it has contributed enormously to the tourism numbers that are now causing the problem. The shift to a system where a visitor approaching the ticket gate pays 2.5 times what the person behind them pays, that's not nothing. It's a signal. It says, you are welcome here, but you are a different category of welcome. It changes the texture of the experience, subtly, even if the financial amount is perfectly reasonable. That's not necessarily wrong. Given the pressures involved, some version of this is probably necessary. And the sympathy here lies more with the residents of Kyoto than with a tourist who balks at paying an extra 1,000 yen. But Japan should be deliberate about it. The residency model, charging based on where you live and pay taxes, not on your nationality or how you look, is the right framework. It's defensible. It's fair. It actually solves the problem it's trying to solve. The line between you pay more because you don't contribute to the upkeep and you pay more because you're foreign is thin, and it matters. Japan has built something extraordinary here. The goal should be to protect it for everyone who loves it, whether they were born here, live here, or are saving up to visit for the first time. That's the Tokyo Bill Weekly for May 9th. I've been, and remain, Tokyo Bill. Thank you for listening, and take care.